And then I'm going to click start webinar and we're good to go. We're good.
Okay, thank you. Good evening and welcome to this called meeting of the Northside Board of Trustees. Before calling this meeting to order, the board would like to take just a moment to briefly review some of the rules for conducting our meeting. Obviously, we are not meeting in person. On March 16th, Governor Greg Abbott granted a request by the Attorney General to temporarily suspend a limited number of open meetings laws to the extent necessary to allow telephonic or video conference meetings in response to the coronavirus COVID-19. I'll now ask Mrs. McGee to call the roll of trustees. Mute.
I apologize.
We're good.
Dr. Harrell,
Here.
Ms. Freeman,
Here.
Mr. Medina,
Here.
Mr. Lopez,
Here.
Ms. Chumbley,
Here.
Mr. Blunt,
Here.
and Ms. Reed.
Here.
Thank you, Ms. McGee. In accordance with those suspended rules mentioned above, we certify the following. Notice of this meeting has been posted online for at least 72 hours. Although members of the board are not gathered in a central physical location, we do have a quorum in attendance at this meeting by video conference. We are meeting by use of a software application which allows two-way communication for members of the public. As we would in any in-person meeting, members of the public who have followed the instructions on the meeting notice for registering to address a specific agenda item will be unmuted for 3 minutes to speak. If the speaker submitted written comments in advance, an electronic copy will be provided to all trustees. And also, because very often we've had new folks chime into our meetings, it's important to note that when it's a call, excuse me, I've got kind of a sore throat, a called meeting, that we ask that those citizens to be heard make sure and ensure that they are speaking to a specific agenda item. And I'll just give a real quick example. For example, under Superintendent, we've got two items. One item 16A, has to do with extending Dr. Wood's resolution that we originally approved on March 18th. It's just a few word edit. It's not approving the resolution. The resolution's already been approved regarding the COVID-19 emergency district closure. It's an edited version of that. All other meeting procedures will adhere to board adopted procedures to the extent practicable. An audio recording of this meeting is being made and will be available to the public at a later date. We apologize in advance for any unforeseeable difficulties and ask for your patience as we navigate unprecedented conditions. The order of business for this meeting is set out in the agenda. The meeting will then officially be called to order. Please bow your heads as Trustee Blunt leads us in the invocation and pledges to allegiance.
In our invocation, Almighty and merciful God, we ask your guidance and blessings upon this board, students, parents, patrons, teachers, and administrators as we are assembled here this evening in the common pursuit of the great nation's wealth, our children. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you, Mr. Blunt. This is a called meeting. We will move to the consent agenda unless Dr. Woods has any beginning comments.
No, ma'am, Dr. Harrell, I think we're ready to move on.
Okay, so consent agenda, item 9, second reading and adoption of policy FDB local on extracurricular participation for distance learners. Is there any discussion or questions?
I move approval, Dr. Harrell.
Okay, is there a second? Ms. Freeman has moved to approve.
Second.
the agenda. Okay, Melissa Chumbley has seconded. We'll do a roll call vote. All those in favor will say aye, or oppose nay, or abstain. Ms. Reed,
Aye.
Mr. Blunt,
Aye.
Ms. Chumbley,
Aye.
Mr. Lopez,
Aye.
Mr. Medina,
Aye.
Ms. Freeman,
Aye.
Dr. Harrell, aye. The ayes have it. The consent agenda has been approved. We'll now move to facilities and operation. Item 11, report on TxDOT Highway 18 improvements at O'Connor High School. Mr. San Miguel.
Thank you. During our building committee meeting on the 17th, a presentation was made by staff regarding improvements to Highway 16, which is Bandera Road. At the request of the board member, we're sharing the same presentation with you today. Under Friday letter, we sent something to you that included a video that really can explain a lot better than we can on what exactly is happening there near O'Connor. So I'm going to turn this over to Jacob Villarreal because he's been kind of the lead on this particular item. So Jacob.
All right, good evening, Dr. Woods and members of the board. I'd like to take this opportunity to present some information available to the public related to roadway improvements along State Highway 16, also known as Bandera Road. At the request of the building committee, this presentation will briefly describe the scope and the intent of the improvements adjacent to O'Connor High School. A TxDOT link was shared with all board members in Friday letter on July 31st, where information can be found related to this project. A brief scope involves the installation of a restricted crossing U-turn intersection, also known as an R-cut intersection. This project will change the way vehicular traffic travels in and about the Leslie and Bandera Road intersection and is designed to be more efficient by reducing conflict points and requiring traffic to only wait at a single light with a shorter cycle time. Two separate meetings were held between TxDOT, their design team, multiple NISD departments such as transportation, facilities, construction campus administration, and PD. Several comments were expressed to TxDOT by NISD as it relates to the design, all which were addressed or responded to. I would like to share a quick video which can be found on the website that does a much better job of explaining the proposed improvements and the advantages that complement the changes that have already been constructed and completed at the intersection of Loop 1604 and Bandera Road.
There's a lot happening on SH16 near the 1604 freeway. New left turn crossovers allow cars to get onto 1604 without clogging up the traffic under the freeway. And the intersection at SH16 and FM 1560 has been optimized for efficiency and safety. But for SH16 to work at its very best, we need to improve the intersections between the freeway and 1560. Think of it this way. On any road, you might imagine the paths that cars could follow. Drive straight, turn right, and so forth. And at intersections, these pathways cross, which creates conflict points, or places where crashes are more likely. If enough paths are crossing, we wait at a stoplight. And when even more paths cross, we wait even longer. At the Leslie Road intersection, for instance, drivers on SH16 can go straight, right, or left. And Leslie Road can go straight, right, or left. And those crossing paths create conflict points. And a driver on SH16 crosses 6 paths just to get through the intersection. And if they hit a red light, they'll wait for oncoming left turns, and then they'll wait for cross traffic, and then again for cross traffic left turns. That's a long time to wait. At the new Leslie Road intersection, drivers would only wait once before getting their green light. Here's how. The improved design sends all drivers on Leslie Road to the right, away from the intersection, where they can make a U-turn and continue on their original paths. Meanwhile, left turns off of SH16 would move through the intersection at the same time. One light for everyone on Leslie and left turners on SH16, and a second light for everyone else. And those crossing paths for drivers on SH16, they go from 6 to 2 at the intersection. The new U-turns would also have a stoplight. Like at the main intersection, drivers wait only once before getting a green light. This efficient design, known as a restricted crossing U-turn or R-cut intersection, is already in use at FM 1560 and currently is planned for the Cedar Trail intersection as well as at Leslie Road. R-cuts have proven effective across the country, reducing crashes by 30% and fatal crashes by as much as 50%, all the while improving travel time by 30 to 40%. And that includes drivers traveling through U-turns because they spend less time waiting at red lights. New innovative R-cut intersections and left-turn crossovers on SH16 near 1604 would streamline commutes while increasing safety. Another example of how TxDOT is clearing the way for Texas drivers.
So at this time, no action is required by the board. However, an item will be brought before the board in the future for approval for acquisition of right-of-way to accomplish this project. The right-of-way acquisition accounts for a 20-foot by 186-foot rectangular area, which equates to 0.09 acres or 3,720 square feet. The area is located between the baseball and softball field of O'Connor High School, and TxDOT will conduct an appraisal of the right-of-way to be acquired and will share this with NISD once complete. So what I've also shared here on the screen is a kind of schematic plan that they presented to us that kind of shows the potential impact with O'Connor and where they're actually trying to acquire this right-of-way. So let me get you focused in that area. So to give you a perspective, you got AutoZone here, Bill Miller here. This is Kuntz Elementary down below. And you got the softball field of O'Connor High School, the baseball field of O'Connor High School. You got a practice field, and then the main football field is further below. This is the area that they're proposing that they would need to acquire in the future. And so they're getting us the details on the appraisal and what's needed to acquire that property. There were some items, as I previously mentioned, that we raised concerns about, but in all cases, those were addressed, and they were either concerns that were brought up by transportation, the police department, or other departments within the district. So at this time, I ask if there's any questions that I may be able to answer.
Thank you, Mr. Villarreal. Yes, there are. Ms. Chumbley?
First off, Jacob, thank you so much. And Leroy, at the building committee, Carol, this was brought to us. I just couldn't visualize it. And then I had asked that it come to the full board for just a short presentation, just so that everyone who is going to be driving out that road knows what we're going to be looking at. This is going to be long-term construction, I think. And it's going to be, it's kind of like Harlan, where Harlan had, with the TxDOT construction in it, and you have the different roads you're going to have to turn. Anyway, I just thought was really important that the full board know, and then also because we are giving them an easement. So the city our TxDOT doesn't buy it from, they either eminent domain or just work with people is what I'm assuming. So there's no way that they could give us money for some of that. Anyway, I had asked if they would bring it. The video is perfect. And Jacob, if that's something that actually we could have maybe a link to on the O'Connor High School website, I just think it's really important that once people start, we have kids back in school, or even with our teachers coming for distance learning, that they know what's coming down the road on it. Anyway, I just wanted to thank you guys very much for this.
And thank you for bringing it to our attention as well. Ms. Freeman, you have a question or comment?
Yeah, a couple questions. Jacob, you mentioned that we were going to undergo a study about the value of the property. Did you mention that?
Yes, ma'am.
So for what purpose, though, if they're not going to give us
So what TxDOT had indicated to us during our early meetings is that they were actually going to purchase this property because it was going to become state right of way. So that area that you see where my cursor is actually going to become state right of way and will no longer be district property. And so some of the concerns that we raised with that was obviously the fencing. How is the fencing going to, how are we going to be made whole with the fencing? Is it going to get replaced? Are we going to get the money to replace that fence? Those types of things. We had other concerns with drainage, as well as existing utilities that may be present in that area. And so this is a potential acquisition in order for them to accommodate that turnaround that's needed, as you can see in the schematic that's currently being presented.
Okay, and then you said that you expressed some concerns with TxDOT. You said they were addressed, or any further concerns on the project?
At this time, no. I can briefly go through a couple of the concerns. One of the concerns that we had was obviously there's a sidewalk along this roadway now, and with folks doing a U-turn here, there was concerns if a student or parent was walking along the roadway, what types of barriers would we have to protect that student from a vehicle that loses control. And they put a big concrete barrier in between the actual roadway and the sidewalk, which previously was just a 6-inch curb. So they accommodated that request. The other thing that we asked them to do is look at the turning movements of the largest bus that we have. So they actually went to our bus barn right down the road and measured the largest bus and ran that template to make sure that they could make that maneuver, and they did. They cleared it and they showed us that. And then one of the other bigger requests that we had was the R-cut this turnaround was actually pushed a lot closer to the baseball field. And so this little portion of right-of-way that they were going to acquire was going to be closer to the baseball field. So we asked if there was an opportunity to center that in between the two fields, which they accommodated that as well.
Okay, thank you.
The only thing I'll add to that is if you look at there's a cut that we have way at the end of our property next to the city. We asked them, can you put us in there? Because I got to get mowers in there as well, which is said they would do as well for us.
Great. Any chance they might get hit by a home run or two?
You'd be hitting a pretty good home run there, and might be going straight to the big leagues from there.
That's right. We're going to the majors.
And just one other comment, Sandra Day O'Connor is OCONNOR.
Correct.
So just,
yeah, this was an exhibit prepared by Pape Dawson. I'll make sure that it gets fixed on the final drawings.
Thank you so much. Incredible legacy she leaves us. So anyway, any other discussion or questions? Okay, that was up for discussion.
I had a question, just a comment. I can't find the thing that I need to push to raise my hand at the moment.
It's okay, just raise your real hand.
I mean, they did make some concessions with the city or with the state, whoever's doing the highway. One of the big problems is to make sure that there's enough room for our buses to turn there. And that's one of the big reasons why they needed the extra piece of land there. And they are going to pay us for this land. We are not giving it to them. So that everybody needs to understand that is what's happening. And my assumption would be that they will leave the intersection open until this is completed. So just a couple comments. They've done this on a number of places out 281 already, and it's working well. So it works well. Thank you.
Just briefly, what I will share is that there is the website that was shared with you in Friday letter looks like this. It's called a virtual public meeting website. And so it kind of gives you a flavor of what the scope is. This actually was a public meeting that they held back on but you can see that there are downloads, and the video just played for you is called the proposed improvements video. But there's other frequently asked questions and other information that's available to the public as it relates to this.
Great, great resource. Thank you for sharing that. Any more discussion before we move on? Okay, Jacob and Leroy, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All righty, and now we're moving to item 12, Business and Finance, Notice of Public Meeting to discuss budget and proposed tax rate. Mr. Barajas, and this is for approval.
Yes, Trustee Harrell, we've scheduled the notice to be published in the newspaper as soon as the board calls for the public hearing, which is scheduled for August 18th. And we just like your approval to call for the public hearing on the 18th of August.
Okay, is there any questions or discussion? And I just noticed something. I skipped item 9, but we will come back to that. Not 9. No, I didn't skip. We did do 9. I was looking at extracurricular. Thank you. I'm sorry, Mr. Barajas. Thank you. Any discussion on the tax rate?
I would move approval of the notice for the public meeting.
Thanks, Ms. Reed. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we'll do a roll call vote. While I'm getting that out, I guess on consent agenda, I'm used to seeing like 2 pages of consent agenda items. Okay, Ms. Reed?
Aye.
Mr. Blunt?
Aye.
Ms. Chumbley?
Aye.
Mr. Lopez?
Aye.
Mr. Medina?
Aye.
Ms. Freeman?
Aye.
And Dr. Harrell? Aye. The ayes have it. And so the tax rate has been approved. Thank you, Mr. Barajas. All right, we are, okay.
Just to be clear, Dr. Hall, that's the notice of the public hearing for the 18th. So just to be clear that all we did tonight was approve the calling of the meeting for the 18th.
Yeah, thank you very much for that. Not the actual tax rate.
Yes, ma'am.
Appreciate it. Okay, so now we are moving to item 16, Superintendent. A, consideration and possible action regarding COVID-19 emergency district closure, which is the extension of the resolution that we already approved on March 18th.
Actually, Dr. Harrell, I would explain these 2 items together, although we will ask for separate action. Last week, the board saw a presentation by Lori Jones for technology purchases for distance learning. As a part of that presentation, you saw that we were joining on with a statewide purchase of student technology. The way that the state is facilitating that purchase is through one of the region service centers, Region 4 in the Houston area. In order to participate in that purchase, we had to sign an interlocal agreement, which is not uncommon between governmental entities. And the turnaround was quite quick. It was before this meeting was going to happen. So these 2 items are directly related to that interlocal agreement. The first, item A, amends the resolution that you've seen many times and adds the opportunity for me to sign an interlocal agreement if it would be in our financial best interest. And then item B is a request for ratification of the actual interlocal agreement that allows us to participate in that statewide purchase, which saves us roughly $1.4 million and puts our purchases kind of at the head of the line as opposed to individual district purchases. So happy to answer any questions, but thought it would be best to explain together.
Okay, are there any questions from the board?
Carol, could you just have them? I can't, I don't have leaderboard up. Could you just show the resolution?
It's right, it's up. Can you see it?
Yes, and then just go to the place where the change is.
I don't think it's highlighted, Ms. Chumbley.
Okay.
It's the sentence at the top of Item 4.
Okay.
The authority to act.
Place of the board under policies. Okay.
Regarding procurement and thus procure
Local
negotiate
agreement. Yeah, goods on service.
services. Okay. Any other questions on that? Did you have anything you wanted to add, Ms. Chumbley?
No, I like that, you know, it's got to this authority to the board at the next board meeting. Brian, I appreciate that you're putting that in there.
Sure.
So, no, not at all. I move approval.
Okay. Help me with this real quick, guys. I wanted to check to see if there's any citizens to be heard on this item, just to double check. Dr. Woods?
We've got 4 people signed up to this item. I don't know if folks realized, you know, the detail of the item.
Okay, so who's the first one, and we'll find out.
Nicholas Curtis.
Yes.
Hi, Mr. Curtis. Are you here to talk about the amended version of the resolution?
Yes, I'm here. Can y'all hear me?
Yes, yes. And I'm just, sir, I'm just double checking that you're here to speak on the amended version of the resolution that was adopted on March 18th, as we shared earlier.
I think so. It's real short and to the point.
Okay. Okay,
if
so let me.
If I'm not, you can stop me and I'll stop. I'm not particularly sure.
Okay, all right, we'll help you along. Let me go ahead and give out the rules then. And
Okay.
so the rules for addressing the board are, first of all, we want to say that we value your opinion and we will listen to what you have to say. Although we are restrained by law from taking any action, and we are restrained by policy because it's supposed to, on a called meeting, respond to a current agenda item. You will address your remarks to our board, confine your remarks to, again, a specific agenda item. Limit your remarks to 3 minutes. At 3 minutes, our superintendent will ask that you wrap up your remarks and do not make any personal attacks on individuals.
I got you. I did speak a few weeks ago at one, so I think I'll be all right. It's short and sweet and to the point. Probably only lasts about 30 seconds.
Well, Dr. Harrell,
sure.
I'm sorry. Mr. Curtis, can I just clarify with you on this? Because this was signed up to this agenda item. That means that your remarks are in relation to the amendment, including the authorization of the superintendent to sign into an interlocal agreement. If it's not in relation to that piece of it, then it really would not be applicable under this agenda item. And that's not your speech.
I'll start it, and if it isn't, you can stop me. I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm not into all the politics and all that. I just wanted to speak on behalf of a taxpayer and so a student who went to the Northside School District as well as myself. So, and I also have a wife who teaches in the Northside Independent School District. I'm pretty sure it applies to what we're talking about.
Okay, we'll see. Thank you.
Okay. So I'm just going to keep it short, and everyone already knows the concerns of COVID-19, whether you're against reopening schools or for reopening in schools in person. Everybody knows the facts. There's no need to really repeat those. I just, is there a testing protocol in place, or is there a tracing system in place?
Mr. Curtis, I am going to stop you on that because those are the details of school reopening, and you will be able to on the 18th of August if you'd like to come back. But again, this pertains, as Ms. Chumley said, to the interlocal agreement. So I'm going to have to say, have a good evening.
What is the interlocal agreement? What is that? What exactly is the interlocal agreement?
Well,
do you know what that is? Can you explain that to me?
Well, right now, under Citizens Be Heard, really the board is restrained by law from taking any action, which means responding. If Dr. Woods would like to say
I just don't know what that is. Can you explain what that is that you just explained to me?
Sure.
So we we entered into a partnership with another governmental entity to purchase technology equipment for students at a reduced.
So that's the agreement.
So I didn't hear it. You entered into an agreement to what? Purchase what?
To purchase technology equipment for students at a reduced price.
Oh, okay. That's what this meeting is about?
That's what this item is about.
This item is, yes, sir.
Oh, okay. I thought it was on the more pressing issues of
No,
the COVID situation and back. I mean, all right. That's cool.
They're all-
I didn't know it was about something so trivial. My bad. I'll wait till the next time. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Okay, Dr. Woods.
William Thomas.
Yeah, my comments were more toward the impracticalities of running a school with the COVID restrictions. So I'll have to either send an email or wait for the next meeting. Thank you.
No, thank you very much. We appreciate that.
Wanda Longoria.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, board. My comments are also in towards a different item, so I'll be happy to email them to you all. But before I get off, I just wanted to thank Dr. Woods and the board for all their advocacy with the state and TEA on behalf of Northside AFT. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Longoria.
Taylor Lyons.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, I also wanted to speak on concerns regarding the COVID pandemic. I'm a teacher in Northside and was just wanting to express those concerns for my students. So I will be happy to return and speak to you on August 18th. Was that what it was?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much. I will speak to you soon.
It's a challenge when it's a called meeting, but thank you very much.
Not a problem. Have a great day.
Thank you. You as well. Thank you so much. Okay, so I do believe we are ready for a vote, and I think Ms. Chumbley, you made a motion to approve item A, consideration of that resolution, the extension of the resolution originally adopted on March 18th. Is there a second?
Yeah, hey, Carol, I'll give a second.
Okay.
And I have a quick comment also.
Sure.
I'll wait till after we vote.
Okay. Any others before we move on? Okay, I'll do a roll call vote. Ms. Reed?
Aye.
Mr. Blunt?
Aye.
Ms. Chumbley?
Aye.
Mr. Lopez?
Aye.
Mr. Medina?
Aye.
Ms. Freeman?
Aye.
Dr. Harrell? Aye. The ayes have it. Superintendent A's been approved. Superintendent B, ratification.
Yeah, Bobby.
I think Mr. Blunt had a comment.
Oh, I'm sorry, Bobby. Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, just real quick for if the citizens are still on, but just for clarification, if we can. So August 25th is our regular meeting. So that's the one that has citizens to be heard if it's not an agenda item. August 18th is a called meeting. So again, they'd have to look to make sure their comments are related to the called meeting on the 18th. Otherwise, the 25th would be the date that they would come forth, correct?
Or do we have anything on the 18th in relation to?
It's again, right now it says, well, I don't know. Officially, no, right? I know what it says, but I'm not sure if that's the official.
I don't know.
Well, right now it's to start the transition period, but I still would make sure that they know that.
Yeah, the item that we're carrying for the 18th now that's in any way related is a discussion and possible action from the board on the district's ability to control the numbers of people in our buildings in weeks 5 through 8. That's the item we're holding for now.
And that depending upon their remarks, that could apply.
Yeah, again, I'd be careful. Just make sure that I'd say the 25th, definitely. The 18th, ask them to make sure that they look at the agenda at that time. That could change potentially.
That's, yes,
Good
that,
catch, Bobby.
the agenda could change between now and then.
Sure, sure. And we can do the same summary at the 18th as well. So, okay. Good point. Thank you.
Still, Dr. Harrell still need action.
I'm waiting for a motion for the ratification. Approve the ratification.
Yeah, I'll make the motion to approve.
Wait,
Thank you,
Carol, we haven't voted on A yet. You had my motion, and then you had Bobby's second. So you just need to vote on A.
We did.
We did vote on A.
Vote on that?
Yeah.
We did.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. You said aye.
Oh, well, good. And, Brian, let me ask you, there is a parent that's reaching out to all of us on the Zoom chat that I think may not have understood the requirements in relation to it being a called meeting and having to speak specific to an agenda item. And so, if someone can reach out to him and just let him know about that, and that, to look for the 18th or the 25th if he wants to come back.
Okay.
Thank you.
I would second the motion.
Okay, so Mr. Blunt, you moved to approve the ratification. Ms. Reed, you seconded. Did I hear something?
Could
Okay.
somebody put the interlocal agreement up? I can't get my leaderboard to open.
Give me 1 second and I'll get it back up.
Thanks, Leanne.
Was there a specific part that you wanted to look?
Sorry, Leanne, if you'll scroll up just a little bit. Okay, thank you. Thanks. I just wanted to see it. I hadn't had a chance to see it yet. Thank you.
Okay, so going back, Bobby, you moved, Katie, you seconded. So are we ready to take a vote?
Yes.
I'm just checking. All right, Ms. Reed?
Aye.
Mr. Blunt?
Aye.
Chumbley?
Aye.
Mr. Lopez?
Aye.
Mr. Medina?
Aye.
Ms. Freeman?
Aye.
Dr. Harrell, aye. The ayes have it. So Superintendent B's been ratified. And so let me get to the end of the agenda. We do not have executive session. Since this was a called meeting, this was not our regularly scheduled meeting where we do listen to citizens to be heard without any kind of reservation. We will now move to adjournment.
Does anyone know what the Reddick Center is? Is that going to be a Zoom meeting, or is it? Can we just?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a Zoom link. Yes.
Good. Well, great. Joseph, please take care of
Yeah.
yourself.
Yes.
Let us know you're good.
Thank
Oh, he's good.
So
You
what-
good, Joseph? You got it, Joseph? Come on,
All
man. All right.
So let me add that tomorrow when we have the